If you're a Redditor, let's say you're a financial planner and you've been in there just giving great financial advice and you love it and it lights you up, like keep doing it.
It's so interesting. Cloud Code has been a giant unlock for me, even just within my business, like not even building products. So I'm definitely looking at doing a workshop for non-techie people to make it less intimidating because the terminal turns so many people off.
In marketing, you can't really love it without loving technology because you start bumping up against constraints. A lot of people are saying that AI content isn't found or it's suppressed. I don't find that to be true whatsoever. So if you use GPT or Claude to write an article for you and then you publish it, it will get picked up by the search engine.
Welcome to another episode of AI Product Leader. Every week we shine a light on what it really takes to join the AI world. Real conversations with real AI builders, founders, product leaders, experts, technologists, and everything in between to understand where the AI world is right now and what that path looks like, whether you're building AI products or a career in AI. I'm your host, Polly Allen, the founder of AI Career Boost, where I spend my time helping product leaders navigate the world of AI, transition into AI leadership roles, and I've spent my career in both the product management and software development sides of the house. I'm an ex-Alexa AI principal product manager, and I successfully launched the very first generative AI answers on Alexa. I'm super excited to have our guest joining us today, Maggie Mae. She's a sharp, high-velocity product and tech exec who's built and scaled lovable products across real estate, accessibility, and fintech. From startup trenches to CPO seats, she's led teams at Tomo and AudioEye with a relentless focus on impact, speed, and inclusive design, always a step ahead of what customers and markets want now. Now she's focused on helping service-based businesses get found on ChatGPT with askandbefound.com. Maggie, thanks so much for joining us today. I've been very excited for the conversation.
Thank you, Polly. Me too. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'm super excited to get into Ask and Be Found. But before you started getting into AI-based businesses, obviously you've been in marketing and tech for a long time. Can you give us just a little bit about your background and kind of what brought us to today?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I have been a person who has been just chasing my joy my whole career with, varying degrees of like accepting that about myself as I've gone through. Because I think when you're young and you're early in your career, you have a plan or you think you're supposed to have a plan and you execute against that plan and then life happens and we spend a lot of time at work. And so to have work be like joyful and meaningful and exciting, so that's where I have, that's how I've gone through my journey. So I started in marketing because I was very interested in helping businesses and business owners like promote themselves and get more customers. And I happened to just find a knack for it. And I was like, pretty good. And then in marketing, you can't really love it without loving technology because you start bumping up against constraints. So like, why can't it do that? And why can't when the email goes out, why can't I have a link for user, customer A and customer B and customer C? Or why can't I merge in like dynamic content and show the people in Florida a happy holiday greeting with palm trees and the people in, Denver are happy,
You'll
with
follow your joy. You're like, I want to add more joy to this.
I
Why
want
can't I
to add
do
more
that?
joy. Yeah. And so that led me to the world of technology where I got my first product manager job. I got super lucky. I'm very fortunate that somebody was that I knew was asking me about it. And I said, no, I do not want a project manager job. And they said, that is not what it is. They were very, all the PMs, right? They were very patient with me and gave me my first little corner of software. And then from there, I grew to eventually be in charge of that entire platform and have really just been chasing my joy ever since.
That's amazing. Joy and curiosity. I do think it's part of what makes a PM kind of spirit, right? Is that like curiosity to keep going. Like, why can't we do
Yeah,
that?
why can't we do that? And then like who says, well, that's not allowed. Well, who said no?
No, totally. And especially, I think it takes some like curiosity and you feed your engine if you are doing a big transition, like you had come from like a pure marketing background into more tech, right? And like that is, sometimes not always a super rewarding journey. There's parts of that that are frustrating, things like that.
It
What
can
do
be
you find that
really,
fed you along the way?
yeah, it can be really intimidating to be a non-technical person, if that's what we want to call it, in a room full of engineers, for example. But I've always had like really kind and patient and like gracious, engineer partners who are more than willing to like share their knowledge, explain something to me, or dumb it down, for lack of a better word, in my early career when I didn't understand, you know, database tables and like how those things worked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome. And so that I remember we were talking before the call started that I was like, well, it looks like you're doing like six things at once right now. Is that fair? You're always doing six things at once, which is great.
Yeah, I am. I'm doing quite a bit right now, and again, I think it's just that underpinning of like chasing my joy and finding the things that feed my soul. So yeah, so I'm doing really two major things, but lots of like little things in between. And so one is I'm building sports technology, which is a totally new area for me. So I get to be like a student and a new person again, in a new industry. But the patterns are similar, right? And so coming from like fintech, where we had financial institutions that then had locations, that then had layers of managers, and then, salespersons and their business constraints. You'd be surprised, like sports, like very similar. There's like a league, and then there's divisions, and then there's teams, and there's people that, are at every layer, and those people have needs and they have challenges. And then my other passion right now is AI SEO. Like I'm just totally obsessed with
Yeah.
SEO.
I,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to get into this. I was just thinking the last couple of weeks that this is something as a small business owner, I myself have been like, oh man, I know there's stuff I need to do beyond traditional SEO. I can ask ChatGPT what it is, or pay attention to like the few influencers who are telling me that I just need to be all over Reddit or something. I'd love to hear first what sparked this journey. How did you end up getting obsessed with
Yeah.
SEO?
Thank you. Appreciate that. So, kind of a funny story. So, way back when I was in a marketing role, a friend of mine, it was a colleague who grew to be a friend. We have these colleagues who we, love and then build relationships with outside of work, which is so great. But I always had like tinkered with his website a little bit. And he's basically searching for himself, right? So he's looking for like top Seattle mortgage broker, and he wasn't coming up after previously being like first on on the first page of Google. And so he's super confused, like, how can I have all these reviews and I'm doing the right thing, and like maybe it's my website, it's too slow, or I'm using WordPress and that's not right, like what's the problem? And so of course, like when we hear problem, right, we get curious, we're like, let me see if we can figure it out. So I talked to Claude about it, right? So I'm a big Claude girl. And Claude gave me some tips, and then I implemented those things, and he went from not found at all to found. And that made me really excited, but curious and suspicious, because it was in like an hour. It wasn't like we did like this big long thing and it took 30 days, and we it was like and I'm going to explain this a bit, but that AI, and those listening know this as well, it loves structured content, right? And so it's it's almost prompt engineering because it wants context. And so you have this website and there's no context around it. And so to give the AI structured content, you're going to install a schema file. This is completely free. So everybody listening can go to schema.org, and there's all kinds of schemas that people need. So I had created that for him and installed it. And that's really what gave the first like big push. So then we're like, well, you're showing up for mortgage broker. What if we can get you to show up for loan officer? And so we started like playing and like expanding on like the tools and the things. So that's a big piece of it. So it's really like so it got me really excited. So then I thought, yeah, is it a fluke? Like if we do it once, can we do it again? And so I put out feelers and I was like, hey, who is interested in being like, a beta? We're going to do an experiment. Let's see if we can make this work. And so a girlfriend of mine who has a resume writing service. So now we're talking like a completely different industry, completely different location. She's in Ohio, and did the same thing for her. And one day, like from not found to found, and she's number one now in her category. If you ask GPT about it,
For
who's
resume
a
writing.
resume
Is
writer.
it locally based? Like, do you have to ask for like resume writing service in an area or
So locally for sure is like a big piece of this, but that's a big piece of service-based businesses. So, your CPAs, your HVAC guys, your financial planners, your electricians, your plumbers, right? So there's a huge local business market for this. So after that, I started getting really excited. I was like, okay,
yeah,
this might be a thing. So I was talking to a friend of mine who's got a restaurant software company, and I shared the formula with him. He implemented the formula and he moved one of his restaurants again from not found to being found for like best Wagyu beef city state. And so that then I'm like, okay, we
Yeah,
did
this
it.
is working. Yeah, totally. I got the formula. I cracked the code.
Yeah, yeah, we solved it. So the formula is it's your off page SEO. I don't know if you remember this. It was big for me because I come from the marketing world. So there's a time when we were like, directories are done. Nobody cares about directories anymore. You know, Yelp, it's over. Google business, maybe just for Google. Like, you don't need to worry about directories. Directories are back on, right?
Okay. Yeah.
so, so it's much like the QR code had a renaissance during COVID times where
Yes. I
QR
love that. Totally. This thing that you were like, what technology? Okay, fine. We're bringing back this thing. Yeah. And the six people, I never think of that in COVID. I was like, the six people who were at that like QR code startup that were like diehards, like, no, it's going to be a thing. And like, we're still left doing it. They were fantastic.
100%. And then COVID happened, and now all of a sudden, like Uncle Jim knows how to use a QR code because he had to use it
Right.
to scan the Cracker Barrel menu, right? So, like, so directories are having, with the age of AI, is having like a bit of a renaissance. So,
Yeah.
what you want to do is when you first do your querying inside
Yeah.
of, you choose LLM, but I'm going to use GPT as the example.
Totally.
When you're searching for like, you know, AI product school, right? For
Hmm.
example, if in the citations, you want to expand the citations because that's literally, it's telling you like, hey, this is where I'm getting the information from.
Yeah.
And so if you find that there's directories in those citations, you want to go and get on those
Get
directories.
into those directories.
Yeah, exactly. So for mortgage, that's like
Yeah.
that's going to be like your wallet hub and gosh, a couple other ones are evading me right now, but let's just use wallet hub for
Yeah.
example. So that's going to be like your wallet hub. So for anybody who's, you know, listening, that's what they want to do. They want to do a query that's probably pretty close to what somebody would ask about themselves, their services, and then look at the citations. And if there's directories in there, go get on them.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like off page and it includes reviews. And so, you know, this process isn't like, as you know, none of it is magic, meaning if you have reviews out of like Tacoma, Washington, and you're like, I don't want to be in Tacoma, the price point's too low. I want to go be on Mercer
Yeah.
Island where the
Yeah.
price point's higher. Like, sorry, like unless you have like
Right.
proof
Yeah.
that you have helped or can help people in that area,
Mm.
you're not going to rank for those terms. So we need to make it tactical, not aspirational.
Yeah.
So who have you helped? How did you help them? Where did you help them?
Yeah.
Like that's going to be like your core function of how you're going to like get your queries and expand your queries. So you got off page, then you got on page. This is all your classical. There's billions of blogs about it, books about it, whatever. All your classic like SEO structure where it's going to be like your title, your meta description, your URL, you know, all the basics.
Yeah.
So off page, on page, and then technical, and that's, you know, now we're full circle back to schema. And there's two types of schema, and you can talk to any AI about this all day long. I will coach you right through it. But there's the file that you upload, and then there is also the inline, which is like an inline markup in your content.
So there's on
Uh,
page and off page. I didn't fully understand not on page and not on off page. What's
yes, you've got so it's a three-part formula. So you have off page, which is going to be your directories, your reviews. So and when I say page, I mean your own website. So any citations about you, any, you know, podcasts you've been on, any customer reviews, so any information that exists that's
and
not on
customer
your.
reviews? Is that like Google reviews? Is that
Yep.
like yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Google, and then Yelp is huge again. And I know a lot of you heard that and you're groaning, and I get it because Yelp is not a lot of people's favorite product. Sorry, Yelp. But but what has happened is I think I don't want to say incorrect things, but I read that GPT is using Bing as their search engine, and Bing and Yelp are buddies. So it's going to be looking for you on Yelp, just like if you do a query on Grok and it checks for X, it checks for like X posts. So same thing, right? So you're going to do that. You're going to want to have Yelp reviews, you want Google reviews, and then you want to be wherever those directories are for you.
And so for businesses that aren't necessarily tied to a place, like Yelp is pretty specific about being like geography. Would it be sensible to be like, I'm going to pick a couple main geographies and be like, I need reviews from my people in San Francisco, New York, and you know whatever? Or do you have to pick one geography to really be your location?
Yeah, so for service-based businesses, especially if they're local service-based businesses, you pretty much have a geo, right? But if you're like a consultant, for example, that's going to be tougher because you could work with anybody. So let's say like let's pretend like, Life Coach Co. can serve anyone. So there is likely a directory of like bestlifecoaches.com. So if you're searching in or you're querying in GPT for like who's a life coach that can help me raise preteens as a woman in perimenopause. If that's a concern of yours and you want to ask for somebody who can help you with that, then, if that's the person you serve, you're going to ask that question. And then again, you're going to look at those citations. So just like we had to do like book reports and do references, it's the same thing because the AI is literally telling you like, this is where I'm getting my information from. So you want to be in those places, which can be a little exhausting. There's a note of caution on that, which is your name, it's like name, address, phone. So it's called a NAP. Needs to absolutely unequivocally match everywhere because it's like confuse them, you lose them, but it's like on steroids because it's AI. So the moment that AI is like, I'm not sure who you are, drops you as a recommendation. So like for me, with all my passion projects, that's going to be a problem. I have that problem personally. And a lot of people who like just to stick with like mortgage and real estate for a minute, if you've moved from company A to company B to company C, which happens, and your company stood you up listings on these directories, you'll have old ones out there that you need to correct. So I was just coaching someone this morning about that very thing. I'm like, hey, you've got this old Yelp page. It's from your old company. You need to either update it or get rid of it. Because if it gets confused about who you are, then it's a big no.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha. No, super, super, super interesting. There's the off page, that's directories, and then on page is stuff you control on your
Yeah, so that's going to be all of your standard SEO stuff, right? So if you're Googling or learning or about SEO, those things, even your Yoast plugin tool in WordPress, that's going to really help you out. You want those little green lights to pop up. So you want, your URL, your title, your meta, your headings, your content. A lot of people are saying that AI content isn't found or it's suppressed. I don't find that to be true whatsoever. So if you use GPT or Claude to write an article for you and then you publish it, it will get picked up by the search engines. I don't know how this rumor got started.
Well, I think it's almost like it seems like wishful thinking, right? Like, people are like hoping, but I mean they've proven that we're terrible at detecting it,
Yeah,
even at
no,
the
I'm
top
like,
levels.
I'm
You
like, no, that's not it.
know?
A big point for salespeople. There's lots of salespeople out there, right? Who are looking to hopefully be found for their particular service. Your biography, your bio page on your website is huge. It should not talk about, it can later, but the first opening paragraph should not be like what a nice person you are.
Right.
Right?
If you're
It,
nice,
it,
you're 16 Rottweilers and you live on a farm, right?
and people do that because they want to, of course, like I want to share about my dogs, that. But it should say who you are, what you do, who you serve, like
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
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 Because we're talking, milliseconds, probably not even that for
Yeah.
a crawler or a bot or whatever to look at you and go, oh, I know Maggie helps people get found on the internet. Great,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
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 Totally.
That's a big goal.
Amazing. So it sounds like a lot of the on-page stuff comes from traditional SEO.
Totally traditional SEO. In fact, I haven't seen anybody who is doing very poorly on traditional SEO do well in AEO or GEO. So those things definitely do go together.
Okay. Interesting.
But you can crush it on SEO and still be nowhere to be found
Wow.
in AI. And so
Yeah.
that's tricky, right? You're
Yeah.
like, well, what's wrong then? And that goes back to, so if we go off page, on page, technical, if we just stick with our 3 steps, that goes back to technical. So there may be the content of your website may just not be structured in a way that's readable to AI. And so you want to create and implement schema markup. And it's open source, it's free at schema.org. You want to go check that out. And if you're a person who wants to promote yourself, you want the person. You also want business, you want services, and you want products.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 2 more, reviews and FAQs.
Okay. Yeah.
And so none of those on their own are gonna do it, right? So you need to do all those three things. And if you notice, I did not say go comment on every Reddit thread about your industry.
Right, exactly. That's I was wondering, like, so is that was the one rumor I heard. I'd love to hear like what are the other things you think don't work that people are doing wrong?
Yeah, okay. So, we make database decisions, right? And I'm just not seeing it in the data. And so when I'm looking in like citations or I'm wondering like, okay, well, where did this LLM get that information? It's always websites and directories for what I'm talking about. Maybe there is a slice that is like it's Reddit, it's always Reddit, but if you're trying to reverse engineer this for yourself, you want to look at the citations. And if you don't see Reddit, don't spend your time on Reddit. There's so many things to do, and you don't want to do something that's not going to give you any return.
Gotcha. Yeah, totally. Well, and
Yeah.
Reddit seems like a hard one because I think it's also very hard to like it's one thing to be like, "Oh, I need to write more blog posts about, answer the following question," right? And rank for that. But that's very different from getting in on a Reddit post. I don't know. You can't really promote your own thing there. They've got a lot of really strong community guidelines for good reasons to keep the Reddit experience good. No one wants all of Reddit inundated with like, "Well, I heard so and so's so their mortgage marketing out of New Jersey is A plus." Like it's very hard to insert that without going and actually providing value to a community for a long time.
Ye Yes, yes, and providing value for a community for a long time. I think you nailed it. Like if you're a Redditor and you've been in there and let's say you're a financial planner and you've been in there just giving great financial advice and you love it and it lights you up, like keep doing it. But if you're a very busy business owner and you're looking for like what's going to move the needle for you and you've never been on Reddit before and you're not part of those communities, I would caution you strongly. Like you may get, as the kids say, ratioed. You know? You don't want to get ratioed in there. So it's a very, like you're describing, it's a very specific culture, and it's a culture of contribution, not promotion. And if they can sniff it, they can smell it.
Yeah. No, and they're protective of that for good reason, right? And so showing up there and trying to promote something, I anticipate that being something they're even more skeptical of right now when people are trying to show up and rank using it Reddit right now.
Yeah, I'm just not. I don't see it in the data. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't see it.
Super, no, super interesting. I guess that also leads to like these perverse incentives slash like how far does this go, right? So like some of these things are, SEO has had that chance to kind of wash out some terrible perverse incentives, and it's like, hey, mostly provide good content that your users want, and don't name it something stupid that isn't what they want, and they'll probably find you, like so that generally people are getting what they're searching for, and there's not, Google has spent years, there's people trying to hack it, and then there's people who like they're like, we're going to change the algorithm to not hack it. It feels like right now with GEO, AEO, there's still some like they feel like hacks, but like if everyone does it, everyone can get into a directory.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
It's pretty good, at least what I've seen. I'm looking at, so it's prioritizing things like I think reviews are so important and there's social proof, and like obviously Amazon was a leader in that, and Yelp and other services. And we do that, right? We do look on TripAdvisor. We do explore we do look at Google reviews and we read them and we see like, do they serve people like me? Can they help people like me? And so one of the things that I really like, at least in the little corner that I'm currently totally obsessed with, at least in service-based local business, reviews are huge, and it's really really a powerful strategy. So if you're not asking for reviews in either an automated or a personal way, I mean that's one thing that you can do right away. That's not trying to participate on Reddit. Like go talk to your past customers, tell them you're building a digital resume or an online presence. Ask them to leave you a reference. It's such a huge change in the conversation. Like, Polly, can I use you as a reference for people so they can find other people like me instead of like, could you leave me a review? It just gives you that like that impact and that personal touch to somebody goes, wow, yeah, this is really going to make a difference in the business owner's life, and I want to do that for them.
Oh, that's amazing advice. Oh my gosh. Well, this
So I
has
think we're
been
just kind of shake out some of the stuff. But I'm sure there's going to be people that are just going to pump things, full of keywords, and and give that a try. But
Exactly. So if they want to do this right, you have actually built this all of this advice into a product. Is that right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's currently a service. So what's happening out there on the interwebs is there's a lot of people that are selling like courses and advice, and there's groups, and that's great. But for me, like I need help, So when I knew I need to learn about AI, I went and I aligned myself with you, Polly, and you helped me get an education there, and that made a difference in my life. And so same thing, right? If you want to be found and you're currently not found, or you're not showing up the way that you want, then you can go to askandbefound.com and you can learn about us and reach out directly to me and I will respond to you.
And this is something where we can get your advice, but you actually like will help with the execution of getting
Yes.
this stuff, getting
Yes,
in the
we'll
right
create
place.
that. Yeah, so we'll create that file for you. We'll do all the technical markup for you, and then if you are missing content or you need your content changed, we will also add and change your content for you. So like a woman entered our program and she had a lovely bio about what a nice person she was, and we changed that with a nice introduction paragraph, and she started to show up.
Amazing. Oh, incredible.
So it's like,
ChatGPT.
after 30 tweaks, you're good. No, but I mean, some people are getting results really quickly, which is super
An
crazy.
hour. That's nuts.
I
That's so
know,
crazy.
yeah. The fastest I've seen so far someone go from like not found to found was 45 minutes. I never promised that, but it made me sick to my stomach because I thought, oh my gosh, this can't be real,
Right.
And it was just so cool. And
Yeah.
and, and people are like they're getting phone calls like, and they're talking to their customers, and their customers like, where'd you find me? And they said, I found you on Gemini, or I found you on Copilot, and they're just floored, and so am
Yeah.
I. Like
Yeah.
it's so fun.
Totally. That's amazing. Oh, well, it sounds like you're doing such important work. That's so exciting. And to have been even a small part of it is super, super rewarding for me. That's incredible.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So
made a huge
you've
difference.
obviously come a long way in understanding how AI is working, how it's indexing things, etc. How would you recommend for other people if they want to get started in AI? A lot of people are
Yeah.
very intimidated by this. How would you recommend getting started?
Yeah, so two paths, right? If you're wondering to yourself, like, how are these LLMs like processing, how are they recommending? How is the recommendation engine going? Like I would definitely just start querying in your LLM of choice and then look at those citations and look at that. There's also a wonderful tool, I'm gonna plug it. It's Ask the Public.
Yes.
And yeah, and so that can you can put your topic in there and it'll tell you like, here's what we think people are searching for. I caution you against anybody who promises they know the queries and they know the results of the queries, because GPT and other AIs, LLMs haven't published those yet.
Yeah.
So, take that with a grain of salt. And then if you're looking at like, I want to build something, this is cool. I want to build something with I think just do it, right? Like just go for it. I was super intimidated. I had never used Terminal before, ever. Ever. And then I was talking to Claude, and Claude was like, if you're going to do this, you're going to need to like, have a real database and use Terminal. And I did. And I ask it everything I don't know, and it walks me through. And, sometimes it will confidently walk you off a cliff, but you learn from that experience, right? So if you're prototyping, you're trying to communicate an idea, you're trying to get something started, there's no risk. You're not, right? You launched to, I don't even know, millions of people, Polly, like hundreds of thousands of people at Amazon.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm at Amazon, absolutely, exactly. We had millions of users, yeah.
Yeah. So like
So,
if
but
you
when you're
just
starting, there's no risk. Exactly.
100%, there's no risk. Like the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to break it. And when you break it, you learn. So I had to save like lots of copies when I first started because I broke it a couple times and I was like, okay, I don't want to do that anymore.
What tool? What is your tool stack for building? I'm so curious.
Yeah, I use Claude as my, coder,
Advisor.
right? The
Yeah.
person, that person, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. The tool, the tool that writes code for me, I use Claude. And then,
Do you use
and then
Claude like Claude on the website or Claude Code?
Claude Code, Claude Code. I do use the website for to write docs, for exploring ideas, for research, but I use Claude Code to actually write code, and both front end and back end. And I've come to like my skills have grown so that I can have like I think I've had like four Claude terminals going at the same time, where they're all working on like different features. And like the other thing I'd never done before is like push something up to Git. Like never. No, I had no idea how any of that worked. And it's just made me uh, a better partner to my engineers. So it hasn't replaced engineering at all, but it has made me like a better partner because I understand more about like how the databases work and what's kind of possible and what will take a long time, and then I can be better advocates for them, for stakeholders, and in those conversations.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you can't help but learn. And especially if you're multi-passionate, like Maggie, it's like, well, whatever you learn in your entrepreneurial journey can't help but help you in your career journey as well. Is that fair?
Yeah, totally fair. Yeah, I love just drop a couple tools. So Neon is a database, right? It's awesome. Heroku is by Salesforce. I was like very anti like CRM's going down. It's over for them, right? But then like I noticed that Salesforce has Heroku and I'm like, well, at least they're planting flags in other areas because on Heroku you can just launch like you can launch an app, right?
And that's the service that is actually like hosting your site.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, so you could launch a whole thing. And how did I discover these tools? They're recommended to me by AI, right? And then
They used Ask and Be Found, obviously.
and then Netliffy. I always mess it up. I can't read
Yes,
that
isn't it
word.
Liffy? Yeah, I know what you mean.
Amazing. I love
Yeah.
Netliffy.
Yeah.
It's like the best, right? So yeah, that's the tool stack that I'm using right now that I'm obsessed. I think it's the greatest time ever to have interests and passions that you never had time to explore because now you can fully explore an idea in like an hour,
An hour.
2 hours, 4 hours,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
totally.
yeah.
Exactly. It's so interesting. Code has been a giant unlock for me, even just within my business, like not even building products. So I'm definitely looking at doing a workshop for non-techie people to make it less intimidating because the terminal turns so many people off, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's, like, so friendly in there,
I
you know?
do. It's
It
like playing a little cute video game. It's great. He
yeah,
always tells you what he's doing. He always asks before he does something.
yeah, yeah. I have you used Codex yet? I did dabble in Codex a bit.
I haven't tried Codex. I've tried Klein and I've tried Augment is the other one I've heard really great things about.
I haven't used that one yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did dip a toe in, like, a Lovable or something, but it occurred to me as, like, I wasn't close enough to the work. It was for some people, that's probably great, but for me, I was a little bit, like, too many degrees removed. I'm like, "No, I do wanna open the database and edit a value or add a column or do something." Yeah.
Right, exactly. When you're first I find Lovable is a great kind of gateway drug
Yeah.
for getting into this. But then pretty soon you're like, "Ooh, no, I need to know
Mhm.
more." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're like, "Why is this thing in my way?" And then, it's cheap, right? I mean, it's like I'm on Claude Code Max. You don't have to be you don't have to be on that one. But I probably $250 a month in tooling, and there's no way I could have got somebody to help me even for 1 hour, right? And
Right.
for that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's
'Cause
the difference with the latest tools. Oh my god. Well, thanks so much for your recommendations, Maggie. This has been an action-packed episode. This is fantastic. We've gotten all these recommendations for AEO, GEO, but also do go check out askandbefound.com if you're looking for help or advice in that area. Maggie shared her tool stack too about how she's doing this as a solopreneur on the side with a day job. Absolutely incredible. I loved what you said before you started. You were like, it's hard to explain to people why I do many things, but no one tells Elon Musk to stop running 3 companies, right?
No
Like,
one
come on.
does. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, so and maybe that's a sign of the times, like maybe as people like you and I and others, Elon included, are brave enough to say, "Hey, I'm not, a one-trick pony. I'm a multifaceted human. I have multiple interests." That it becomes more and more okay for us to do that. And there's I'm going to totally butcher it, but there's some saying about like if you go and become a ballerina, it makes you a better chef. That's totally butchered. But there's a saying there's a
Sounds like
saying
it's
like
from like a weird country.
yeah. Yeah, so it's like whatever you master and learn over here, it makes you better over there, and I find that to be totally true, right? You're like productively procrastinating, you're tinkering with problem A, and it gives you an insight about problem B,
Problem
and
B. Oh
off
my
you
gosh.
go. Yeah.
Super inspiring. Thanks so much again, Maggie. We have time for one last section, and that is plugs. So I'm assuming you're looking for people to come check you out at askandbefound.com. Is that
Oh,
correct?
you're so sweet. Thank you. Yeah, if you are a service-based business and you find that you have one of two problems. You are not found in GPT when you search for like, your business category, city, state, or you are found, but the answer isn't what you would like it to be. Both of those things I can help you with. So,
Perfect. Awesome. Excellent. Thanks so much, Maggie. On our end, we always like to plug the show. So if you love these stories of what's really happening on the ground with AI and people who are building businesses, making things work, actually testing things out and seeing how they work, please be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform. Maggie, thanks so much again for coming. This is yet another episode of AI Product Leader. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks so much, Maggie, for joining. This has been amazing.
thank you.